A megachurch pastor is apologizing for his wife's behavior on social media after she received a considerable amount of criticism for talking smack about those who have been protesting by kneeling during the national anthem. Hope Carpenter was the name of the woman who posted on Facebook, and here's what she wrote. She said, "This will not fix racism, duh, only Jesus. If you wanted, it's bad. Can we just stop for a second? Only Jesus.
Not just only Jesus.
Yeah.
Duh. Only Jesus."
So look, I don't know what she sounds like, and I feel like it's unfair for me to read it the way that I think that she sounds.
Oh, I think it's fair.
Okay, fine, then I'm gonna do it.
Do it, please.
All right. This will not fix racism. Duh, only Jesus. If you wanna kneel, then you better be praying to the one and only who can heal our land.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna go more Southern.
I thought you were gonna go more Southern.
No, she sounds like an airhead. Like that's what she sounds like to me. But that's the way I read it. I don't know what she really sounds like.
She is actually from South Carolina, so you were allowed to go more Southern there.
Yeah. So she also says black athletes, she said, should stop thinking about it from your own history or race and admit that our country is not to blame. Okay, anyway, so they got a bunch of heat for that.
So which country is to blame for the racism of blacks in America?
And whose country is she referring to?
Who are we gonna hook that one onto? Yeah, right.
Mexico, obviously. We're gonna make them pay for it.
God, why are these people so incredibly sensitive? It's amazing, it's amazing.
We're about to get to, I think, an excellent apology if you ask me. Okay, so all right, we might disagree on that too, but I'm gonna disagree even on the front part. Not disagree, but look, the first quote, I actually don't have a problem with. The second quote I have a huge problem with. The first quote is, this will not fix racism. Now, I don't agree with that at all, but a lot of people think that, oh, you're kneeling or a protest doesn't fix anything. People say that all the time on all sides of the spectrum.
You know why they say that? Because they don't want any form of protest. They just want them to shut up and not ever complain about the unfair, unequal treatment that their community deals with.
Yeah, I hear you. And then she says only Jesus is gonna fix things, but they run a megachurch. They think Jesus fixes everything. You got a flat tire? Jesus, right? You got pickles in your sandwich when you didn't ask for them? Jesus, right? So I don't agree with that. I think it's comical, but they run a megachurch, right? Now the real issue is when she says, you should stop thinking about just your history or race. I mean, that is rich with irony. So here are folks saying we are disproportionately shot and killed by police, and you're telling me that that's not a problem, but that me pointing it out is the problem. There's some chance that you're only thinking about it from your history or your race. So I don't want anybody to misunderstand me. The second quote is terrible from her.
Yeah, I hate both of them. And just to go back to the whole Jesus will fix everything, like what do they think that looks like? Like, do they envision that Jesus, like let's say they genuinely believe in that religion, right? And that God or Jesus is gonna come and do they think he's just gonna show up one day, like be like, yo, everyone, racism, gone?
Well, I think
I think it's a lazy argument that Christians use, typically evangelicals use, to keep them from having to critically engage the gospel, right? Which would mean that racism is a sin and that you need to check your church and check your own heart and address it. And I think particularly in this climate with all of these incidents of racial injustice cropping up, that churches have to confront it. And they're not, and they're falling short. So I don't think that they believe Jesus. I mean, I think real Christians believe that Jesus is operating, right, and that he's a part of reconciliation, but that he's not going to fix it. And that if you are a Christian and Jesus is working through you got to fix it, right?
Well, I mean, so that leads to two other things. And again, that's why I think religions are comical. But okay, let's go down this path of where is Jesus? Well, if Jesus is in us and he's in the middle of fixing it, maybe he's making them kneel.
Right.
Right? So, or if Jesus actually came down and said, hey, cops, stop shooting black people more than white people when they're unarmed. You know what they say? It's commie, right? They'd reject them. In fact, there is a Jewish carpenter right now who's saying, please stop shooting them and it's unfair. His name is Bernie Sanders. And he was, by the way, literally a carpenter at one point.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
And
he's lived a long, very
Dude, it'd be so awesome if he was like my grandpa and he helped me remodel the condo.
Anyway, that's hilarious.
And when they hear a guy saying, hey, let's be decent to one another, let's take care of each other and treat each other equal, they're like, nah, not really. So I agree with you on that they're not exactly on point on their gospel.
I think Amberia makes a really great point because sometimes people, some people will proudly say that they use religion as a crutch because it helps them when they're wounded and emotionally wounded, and it gets them through difficult times. And then pejoratively, people will say you're using religion as a crutch. But here they're definitely using it as a crutch and in a negative way. Now, because I think to some extent, Anna, they do believe that Jesus will fix everything, and that's part of being religious. That's part of having faith, and that's okay. But where the great point that Amberia makes is that now they're using it to avoid having a conversation about the very thing that Jesus would, at a bare minimum, I think he'd at least talk about it. I don't think Jesus would be like, get up off your knees and stand for the anthem. Jesus would, I think, be, I mean, I think he'd be like, well, why is everybody getting up? Like, to salute what? Like to salute God? Oh, great. Oh, no. Oh, to salute a flag of a country that, I'm just guessing that that would make him uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
I think he might think that was a false idol.
But the government executed Jesus.
So falling back and then using religion as a cudgel? No. As a to batter people into not having the conversation, that's where it's inappropriate. And I'm so glad you said it, because now I'm going to steal that and use it, because that really happens all the time.
Well, Jesus would be opposed to you stealing it. But remember what Jesus did.
Borrowing it, I'll give it back.
Right. Jesus went into the temple and threw out the money changers. What did he do? He challenged the established order to seek justice. So if you actually believed it, you'd be a lot more in the camp of, hey, let's talk about these things and let's bring about change. Okay, but finally, let's get to the apology, because so she didn't do it, so I'm not giving her any credit. She's apparently distraught and emotionally wrecked after the criticism she received online. But her husband, Ron Carpenter, came out and said, it's been tough, he said, the things that have been said about us, but maybe we deserved it. Maybe this is a learning moment for us. So I'm not gonna tell you to be quiet, I'm gonna tell you to teach me. And he went on to say, we ask you to forgive us if we've hurt you in any way. I ask you to teach me what I don't know. I don't want to be ignorant.
Yeah,
I just think that's an excellent apology.
That's a 10. That's
agree,
on the Mankiewicz apology scale.
Yeah.
That's as good as it gets.
I mean, here we were just a second ago talking about, well, no. If you were a Christian who read the Gospels, you would talk about educating yourself and actually getting involved, and then that's how Jesus acts through you, and boom, Ron Carpenter says, yes, that's the direction I want to go. And it's not a thing like, if you, like most of the apologies, if you were offended, I guess you're a snowflake, but whatever, right? This is, no. I get that you were hurt by this, and I don't want that to happen. I want to help understand where you're coming from so we could work on this together. I think that's just perfect. If you like this video, you probably like independent media. The best way to support independent media, become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.